Do you know that most real estate agents believe that they work alone? Hi, my name's Art Batuzzi, and I have been a real estate broker, coach, and mentor for over 29 years. I've coached over 4,500 brokers on how to actually sell real estate from coast to coast. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why you need to build your referral network so you will never work alone. So when I talk to agents about their feelings about this business, I get a lot of agents that will say to me, well, I feel so lonely. I work alone. You know, they might be in an office. They might be even part of a team. But in their mind, it's on them. And to some degree, the ability to generate your own leads is, in fact, on you. But when you become a real estate agent, you need to understand that you are going to be working with a variety of professionals. Some of them will actually be able to provide you leads as you provide them leads. So in this video, I want to talk about the different professionals that you should get a relationship with in your area. All right? First up, lawyers. Yes, I know there's a lot of different lawyer jokes out there, but the reality is a great real estate attorney is going to be able to help your clients really almost above everybody else but yourself. Now, depends on your state. In the state of Illinois and in a lot of other states, attorneys do a lot of the work for the client, right? In some states, they don't. But either way, I always suggest to my clients, whether they be a buyer or a seller, that they make sure that they're represented by an attorney. Okay. Now, one of the reasons you want to have this relationship with an attorney is because not only can you refer people to that attorney, but they can refer potential clients to you, right? And here's the thing. What type of an attorney should you work with? And the answer is not, any attorney with a law license. Wrong answer. Okay, you want to make sure that you're working with a real estate attorney who knows what's going on in your state with regards to specifically the real estate laws. All right, sometimes people go, well, I think I'm going to work with Uncle Fred. He's an attorney, but he is a tax attorney. Maybe not the right guy to handle your real estate transactions. Okay? So you want to make sure that the person that they're working with is, one, a real estate attorney. Now, other types of attorneys that are good referral partners for us are divorce attorneys. Again, not a real pleasant subject, divorce. However, divorce attorneys obviously are running into people that want to sell their real estate quickly. All right? So having a good divorce attorney and multiple divorce attorneys in your area is always a good idea because you can create that relationship with them so that they will refer their clients to you. Also, an estate lawyer. So sometimes when somebody passes away, their property needs to be sold, either by the estate or by the executor of that estate. And so if you have a relationship with an estate attorney, that attorney will be able to refer you to those people when they have that need. Okay? So they are definitely, in my mind, at the top of the hierarchy of the professionals that you need to recommend. The second type of professional is one that we all use when we're working with buyers, which are lenders or mortgage brokers. Now here's the thing, is you are going to give a lender referrals many more times than they'll give you one. However, if you're working with a lender and you're giving them referrals, you should at some point expect them to be able to give you a referral as well. It should be a two-way street. And I say that because sometimes people will call a lender first. and they'll determine what they're qualified for, right? And if they don't have a real estate agent, you want that lender to be able to refer you just because you're good at what you do, right? It's never quid pro quo. I gave you this, you gave me that. No. But you should have some expectation. You should have a relationship with your lenders. And by the way, I say lenders because I think you should have 2 or 3 lenders that you work with and that you refer fairly often. All right? So you should have that expectation from those lenders that they are going to make a referral to you as well. All right? Next professional, home inspectors. Now, you're probably not going to get a lot of referrals back from the home inspector, but by you having a couple of home inspectors as part of your referral network, it's going to go very well for your buyers. Because sometimes buyers will buy a property or you put it under contract and then go, okay, I need to get this property inspected. Well, they don't know who to get it inspected from. And if you have a relationship with a couple of home inspectors, number one, it could allow your client to get in a situation where they need to get in quickly. Meaning, I've had experiences where because I've given a couple of different home inspectors referrals, that when I had a client that really had a very short window to get the home inspected, that they would move my client up into their schedule, which is a great benefit to our client because you just never know how quickly they're going to need it. So having a couple of home inspectors, and here's the thing, you want to make sure with home inspectors that they're the type that are not giving advice on what somebody can do to fix up the property. Meaning I've run into home inspectors in the past that would go, oh yeah, this needs to be done or this needs to be done. And I got a guy that'll do the work for you. You want to have a home inspector that's going to tell the client what work needs to be done because that's their lane. We want them to stay in their lane. All right? Another professional that you're going to need is an insurance agent. Insurance agents are needed by either a buyer or a seller. If the buyer's buying a house, before they close, the probability is very high, especially if they're closing with a loan, that they need to have insurance on the property. Sometimes people are like, I don't have an insurance agent in this area. Who do you recommend? Maybe they're moving in from out of state. Okay, so you need to have a couple of insurance agents who you make referrals to and do a good job for your clients. The next set of professionals, other real estate agents. Some people are like, what are you talking about, Art? Well, it's real simple. Other real estate agents, not necessarily in your market, but in other markets that you may be able to make a referral to, whether maybe it's downstate or it's another state where you're going to make a referral into that state. So let's say I had a client moving from Illinois to Florida. I would want to make sure I had a relationship with an agent in Florida that I was confident could take care of my client. So what I would do is I would then contact that agent and say, hey, my client is coming down there. Are you willing to make a referral to me for referring this person to you? Obviously, they're getting the business, so they would say, sure. All right? So you need to have that referral partner. And literally could be all over the country where somebody is going to go. Now, a lot of agents, what they'll do is they'll create a relationship with somebody within their company in another state. That's fine. But it doesn't have to be within the same company. As long as the other real estate agent is licensed in their state, you'll be good. And they agree to it. And of course, you want to get that agreement in writing up front before you make the referral. Now, another set of professionals that you're going to need to know about or maybe have some dealing with are title companies. Now, in some states, the title company is chosen by the attorney, like in Illinois. It's chosen by the attorney. You, as the real estate broker, have very little say in terms of what title company the seller's going to choose. But there are other states where as the broker, you choose the title company that your seller is going to close at. So you want to have a relationship with a couple of title companies in those states so that you can refer your client to that title company. Another professional that you need to have in your arsenal of professionals are appraisers. Now, the thing with appraisers, and by the way, these are the folks that go out and figure out the value of a property, usually on behalf of a bank, right? But you will want access to appraisers, not necessarily for the buyer side of the deal, because the buyer's lender has to order the appraisal. So it'll go through them, right? But sometimes you're going to run into a seller that may say to you, you know what, I appreciate you doing a CMA, Art, but I'd really like to get an appraisal on this property. Okay, so I have a couple of appraisers that I will recommend at the time that somebody says they want to get an appraisal, right? And these are people that I've worked with in the past who will give the client an honest appraisal of the property. Now, of course, that seller is going to pay for it. And by the way, it is not usually allowed to be used on behalf of the buyer. Usually the bank wants to order their own appraisal. But sometimes you're going to run into a seller who, for their own peace of mind, wants that appraisal. You can then recommend an appraiser to them. Another professional that you should have in your arsenal is a stager. Oh, some deals are made or broken by good staging. Staging is where the property is set up by a professional to be able to give its best foot forward in terms of the look of the property. And stagers will come in and they will make recommendations to the seller in terms of what items should stay, what items should go, where these items should be. And what it does is it allows you, as the real estate professional, to get another professional to make the suggestion to the seller that they depersonalize their property, which is usually a great benefit for us. And I say that because sometimes you're going to walk into a property that has a lot of things in it, like knickknacks and papers and books and bikes and toys and all this stuff going on, right? Some people might call it clutter. I'm going to tell you that a seller does not ever want to hear you call it clutter, all right? So having this third party come in and get them to depersonalize their property is a great benefit to us, because as a buyer walks through, they're not living through the memories of the person who owns that place. They can see themselves in that property, which is what we want. Another professional, photographers. If you're going to be listing properties, you're going to need to have good photographers. And not just one, but you might need 2 or 3 that you build a relationship with, because again, dependent upon their schedule might not meet your schedule or your seller client schedule, right? So I have 3 different photographers that I have in my phone, and I'll start with one and move my way down if the one doesn't have the ability to do it. And by the way, don't be taking pictures of the property on your cell phone and think that those are pictures that are going to actually look good on the MLS. Bad idea. You want to spend for professional photographs, right? And there are literally photographers in almost every price range to be able to do this. So spend the money, make it look good. If they're a great photographer, they're going to make this place look awesome. Surveyors. So I've done a variety of different types of properties. And there comes a time, especially if you're doing commercial or multifamily properties, where you're going to need to have a surveyor or a survey being done. And so I have 2 or 3 surveyors. I have one that I primarily use, but I have 2 or 3 in my phone that if a property needs to be surveyed, I know that they will do the job for a reasonable price and in a reasonable amount of time. So you definitely want to have surveyors as part of your team. Environmental specialists. So I've had to use environmental specialists when I bought buildings before, especially if you're buying a multi-unit building with a lender. That lender is going to require that you have an environmental report done by an environmental specialist. So you need to find an environmental specialist and create that relationship so when the time comes, you can make that referral to your client. All right? It may not come up as much when you're doing residential, unless it's multifamily, but certainly it's going to come up on commercial, it's going to come up on industrial, it's going to come up on multifamily. And then really the last set of professionals that I believe that a real estate agent needs to have access to are contractors. And by this, I mean having access to electricians and plumbers and roofers and carpenters. Anybody that you could refer to your client who you've had experience with, the contractor, who's done a good job for your past clients, who shows up, prices their work fairly, does the work, right? And then, your client is happy. Now, this is probably one of the hardest relationships for you to get. And I say that because in a lot of instances, what you're going to find is you're going to find contractors who say they want to do the work. And you're going to go, look, I want to give this guy a chance. He seems like a nice guy. All right? My suggestion here is pretty simple. You need to vet the contractor. What I mean is you want to make sure you ask them for past clients. And you want to get phone numbers of past clients. And just call that client up and say, hey, I was talking to, Bobby Construction. And Bobby said he did work at your property. Would you mind just telling me, did he do the work? Okay, good. Were you happy with the quality of work? Okay. Were you happy with the pricing? Did he do the job in the time frame that he laid out for you up front? Was he reliable? That kind of stuff. Because, again, everybody's going to be talking in your ear about the great stuff that they could do for you. But when the rubber hits the road, you've got to make sure if you're making that referral to your client that it is a quality referral. Now, you're never going to bat 1,000 on this. You're going to go through some trial and error, right? Because sometimes I've had a contractor be really, really good on one deal. And I'm like, excellent, they did a great job. Let's refer him to somebody else. And on the second deal or the third deal, they sort of drop the ball. All right? So you need to be vigilant about this, especially when you're making referrals. So my suggestion is start building those relationships. And as you build them and as you recommend them, stay on top of it. Because here's the thing, and this goes for all the professionals that I've just talked about, is when you give a referral, you are giving the credibility that you have with that client to that other person. So whatever that other person does is going to reflect back on you. All right? As much as you don't think it's gonna, it is. All right? You gave them the referral. If the lender screws up the deal, they'll be mad at the lender, but they're going to be mad at you because you gave them that lender. If the contractor does something, doesn't finish it in time, doesn't show up, they're going to blame you because you gave them that referral. All right? So, all I'm trying to say here is that make sure you have solid relationships. And when you do, and even if you're new, you'll build those relationships. But when you have those kinds of relationships with people, you will then find very easily that you're not working alone. I can't tell you how many times I've had a lender back me up, or a contractor back me up, or a lawyer back me up in terms of what I'm saying to my client about their deal. See, it's not just my opinion. It's also the opinion of the people that we work with that affects the way the client is thinking, whether it's a buyer, a seller, or investor, whoever it is. If you have a team of people whose goal is to take great care of this client, and you make those referrals, your client's going to be very happy. And they're going to refer you more business, and you're going to use the people in your group to be able to assist those people as well. So ultimately, you're doing all of these relationships, you're creating all of these relationships for the benefit of your client. All right? So you're not working alone. You've got all these professionals that are there to help you, and more importantly, help your client get to their goal. If you would like to talk to me about one-on-one coaching, because this is what I do, feel free to reach out by clicking on the link below this, and I will be happy to discuss how I can help you increase your business and get to your goals in real estate each year. Thank you so much.